Customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Have you ever lost momentum on an initiative or launched an idea only to have it become flavor of the month? In this episode, Chief Revolution Officer John DiJulius discusses the 6 steps in launching a successful customer service program that lasts. Every company is guilty of having a bunch of great ideas born in a meeting room that eventually fizzle out and die, leaving the management team frustrated and cynical and employees skeptical about what the next program of the year will be. Listen in to find out how the DiJulius Group ensures their consulting clients are seeing tangible results 12 months, 3 years, even 5 years later. Now here's your host of the Customer Service Revolution podcast, John DiJulius.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. I am John DiJulius, Chief Revolution Officer of the DiJulius Group. And this week's episode, I want to talk about the 6 steps in launching a successful customer service initiative that lasts. Right? That lasts. That's a key word. Every company is guilty of having a bunch of great ideas and incredible initiatives born in a meeting room only to eventually fizzle out and die. Flavor of the week, flavor of the month, right? Management by bestseller. Leaving the management team frustrated and cynical and the employees skeptical about the next program of the year. So the following is a list of how the DiJulius Group ensures our consulting clients are seeing tangible results 12 months, 3 years, even 5 years later. So the following 6 steps in launching a successful customer service initiative that lasts are: 1, create it; 2, launch it; 3, certify it; 4, implement it; 5, measure it; and 6, sustain it. So let's talk about each one. Number 1, create it. Whether you are creating your customer experience action statement, your non-negotiable standards, or your service recovery zero risk protocols, you need to have a team that is tasked with this project. They are most commonly known as a steering committee, ideally composed of 12 to 18 people, okay, both leadership and representation of nearly every department the company has, as well as customer-facing frontline employees. This will ensure the group as a whole is working in the best interest of the entire company, and it will help you have buy-in in each department because it wasn't made up just by leadership who is viewed as sitting in ivory towers, out of touch with what happens on the front lines. This project also needs a leader, a champion, a CXO, someone who reports to the CEO president and will actually lose sleep at night over the success of this project at every stage, not just in the short term, but also in 6 to 18 months from now. When creating an initiative, the project champion needs to get the steering committee together for a workshop initially, and then at a minimum, little follow-ups to make sure that they are doing the homework and exercises needed to create the absolute best outcomes possible. In between meetings, the project leader will need to manage regular communication between the steering committee to ensure everyone is collaborating and staying on target with the outcomes and the deadlines. The second step is launch it. Creating your initiatives can be exhausting. It should be exhausting. Otherwise, it won't be taken seriously. Now the hard work starts, however. The only thing that is nearly as important as executive sponsorship is frontline sponsorship. Here is where a major mistake is commonly made. The steering committee can't assume that everyone in the organization will have the same passion and commitment to this initiative. But no one else outside of the steering commission has been immersed in it for weeks, debating with passion what will help take the company to the next level. So there's typically a disconnect between the group that gives birth to the project and the rest of the organization. That is why it's so important to have a launch that gets everyone on board and able to understand why this initiative is so important to the company's future success, the customer's well-being, and the employee's future. A launch involves communicating with every single employee. And in that launch, there needs to be a story told. Every story has a villain and a hero. The villain is what's wrong with the way it's currently being done in the industry, in the world, in your organization. The villain may be the competition, the status quo, price cutters, or the pain the customers are experiencing. The hero is easy. The hero is our initiative and how it will change the company, the industry, and our customers' lives and solve their problem. The hero is actually the employees who adopt this new initiative. They will be the heroes when they execute this, okay? You have to be able to sell the purpose of your initiative to all your employees and get them to rally around it. Rise up to defeat that villain. You have to also make sure 100% of your employees partake in the launch, either at the live presentation or watching it virtually within a certain time frame. The number 3 step is certify it. Just because your employees were in attendance or watched the presentation online doesn't mean they retained it. There has to be a certification component. It is important to test each employee to make sure they learned and retained the information that was taught and launched. There are many ways you can do this. One of my favorite is gamifying it. Make it a competition between teams, departments, or locations. This makes it fun and a team-building activity.
Would you like to lead an organization that hires and retains the top talent? Contact Claudia at DiJuliusGroup.com to learn how the DiJulius Group can help you build a tattoo-worthy culture.
The 4th step to launch a successful customer service initiative is to implement it. This is where most plans, projects, initiatives fail. At the implementation phase, you can create the greatest idea, get everyone to rally around it, but if you don't have a solid implementation plan, it will be another good idea that never amounted to anything because no one made sure that there was a plan to roll it out effectively after the pep rally. Implementation is a rollout calendar of phases, crawl, walking, and running. This calendar needs to be timed with training and support materials. The 5th step in launching a successful customer initiative is measure it. Just like the project lead needs to lose sleep at night over the success, now every department, leader, and employee needs to know the key metric, key performance indicator that measures the success of this initiative. It might be the retention rate, number of referrals, re-sign rate, closing rate, conversion rate, customer satisfaction score, or the net promoter score. Not only do they need to know what it is, but what it has to be, and they need to see daily and know exactly what impact it has and how they are contributing or taken away from it. Management employees need to obsess over this metric. We like to call it the return on experience dashboard. 2 to 3 KPIs that are focused on making sure that everyone in your organization is achieving the experience that you've created. The ones hitting the goal need to be celebrated loudly. The ones who are underperforming need to be coached and convinced that this is the way we are operating now and forever. Live it, love it, or leave it. Measure who is doing it consistently and recognize and coach it until it's 100% consistently being executed. This has to be measured immediately with the rollout to ensure employees know that this is serious and a non-negotiable. Measure that it has an impact on the customer. Do they recognize the value? Is it affecting satisfaction levels, loyalty levels, and impacting the key metrics? This must be measured for 30 days or for 90, 100 to 120 days to see the impact it's having. And the sixth and final step is sustain it. Be relentless. There is no ribbon cutting ceremony for a world-class customer service organization. You never arrive. You just need to keep branding and advertising your customer service culture back to all your employees, not to the customers, not to the public, not on your website, but internally, bringing it up in daily huddles, recognizing and celebrating employees who are modeling behavior, continually playing games and posting your return on experience results to show the performance of the company, teams, and individual. Customer service systems evolve. Some things work, many things need tweaking. Better training, support, technology, better communication, and awareness. The steering committee needs to continue to meet regularly, develop new systems, as well as evolve the existing ones, constantly evaluating progress and defects. Most of all the work is done and rolled out needs to be part of the new employee orientation and training so future generations get it. Provide consistency and understand the legacy the company is built on. Then your company's customer service will be your single biggest competitive advantage. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Customer Service Revolution, and I will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. Did you enjoy this episode? Consider leaving us a review. We value your feedback and love to hear how you're using the podcast in your organization. To hear more, be sure to subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for being part of the Customer Service Revolution.